What's going on, guys? I'm Cody, joined here by Ian and Darren, the three members of Full Send Studios. We are officially coming at you live with the first Full Send Studios podcast. So, to start off the podcast today, we're just going to be going around the table here, talking to all the members, what's going on in our lives, what's going on with the game, and that's how we're going to kick this off. So if you're here, buckle in because it's going to be a wild ride. So Ian, we'll start off with you. If you just want to talk about what's going on in your life, your role in the company, or the studio, whatever.
Okay. I'm Ian, obviously. I am the lead designer for Full Send Studios. I'm also a junior in college. We just finished my junior year of college, going into my senior year. Just hanging out for the summer.
Darren, you want to pick up where you left off?
Sure, yeah. So I'm the, project manager for the Gather for Full
He's
Send
everything.
Studios. What?
He is everything.
You're everything.
Everything.
I mean,
Stab.
I guess you could say that. I'm the engineer / project manager.
/ network administrator /
Yeah.
House
my computer when
/
I ran with
HQ owner.
Yeah. So,
/ funder /
yeah, pretty much everything except for designing that Ian's doing. So.
And social media stuff. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Okay. So why don't you tell us what you're doing, Cody?
So I am the community manager / I don't know what you really call it, crowdfund sourcing
PR.
organizer when that happens, PR, whatever. So if you're communicating with someone on social media, that's probably me. That's my job. Beyond that, just getting everything set up for demo launch, making sure that the community can communicate with each other effectively on every platform. That is my job. I just graduated college. I have a worthless degree. I wasted 4 years of my life, and here I am. So thanks for joining. I hope in the next 6 months I will not be broke because I'm gonna have to pay back my loan. So wish me luck. But yeah, that's about what I do. So
Your mic's on.
it's not on.
Brady just said your mic wasn't on.
Oh my god! Are you shitting me, boy?
Well, we're off to a good start. So.
We're off to an incredible
Yeah.
start, dude.
Darren, your mic's on.
Hey,
My mic's on.
Your mic shouldn't have to be on with XLR.
Well, Brady said the mic doesn't seem to be on.
Well, I guess see if it makes a difference, but I
Did
don't
you hear everyone
think
else?
they're supposed to. Well, we could hear you. You could still hear you through Ian's mic, so it's not a big deal.
Oh, that's probably not good.
Well, I mean, it's not that bad because it's not like there's a delay. It's not like you're
That's-
talking through Discord and there's a delay there, but it's
Okay.
it's whatever.
Brady, so did you hear anything Cody said, or is that just a wash?
I could hear him, so I mean.
Oh, so we're good then.
I mean, I hear the audio before it goes into OBS, but I think it's whatever. Because I could hear him, so I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, good.
Interesting. Well,
So what are we talking about today, Cody?
well, we can start off. I mean, I kind of wanted to do that introduction, just talking about who we are. We can start off with the gather talk, Darren, if you want to.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That lead
You know what?
And
You know what?
brought us to this point.
I can't see you too well, so I'm gonna move my monitor over because
It's
it's getting bad.
Those cords are real tight, my dude.
It's okay.
You got plenty of room.
Ian's got me covered.
Yeah, I got it. It's fine.
Ian's got me covered.
What else? What else does a lead designer do but to help the team?
I don't help anyone.
Yeah, that's
I'm really
true,
just
Ian.
here for the internet.
That is a true IT support guy right there. Pulling the cord so I don't rip them out.
So you don't break another monitor.
Yeah.
Or TV.
Whoa, I've never broken. Hold on.
Break a TV.
Hold on, I've never broken another monitor, so.
Well, okay.
Or a headset. Or
Grant,
a mouse.
I'll
or
tell
a
you what
keyboard.
though, Grant one time shot my monitor with a BB gun.
I do remember that. That
Yeah.
was something.
It
Do you remember?
was an airsoft gun.
You remember
that
the
kicked
salt
out.
gun though?
Yeah,
The salt gun was the best day of my life when
me
you
and
got
Vito had a bad
when you got
run-up
sprayed
with
in the
that.
eyes. That
Yeah,
was my favorite time.
Oh no.
It
I'll
really
never
was.
forget the time I shot Matt. Matt was running. He was really
Matt who?
aggravating. Klein.
Oh yeah.
And
Dude, I
he
forgot
was
he
running,
existed,
'cause
dude.
Jack had enough, right? So he runs, and I grab a I don't know, an airsoft gun or something out at the gym, and he's got to be 30 yards away from me, right? I mean, it's not even moving fast at that point. I mean, it's like one of those little air-loaded pistols. I just kind of pop a shot at him. I mean, I see the wind blowing the little BB, but it hits him right in the eye. Not a joke, in the eye. I see him pull it out. Oh my goodness gracious. Poor guy.
Was it a poor guy though?
Well,
Well,
that's
he's famous
debatable.
now. He's famous now.
Yeah,
dude.
he's
Might as well.
he's
Find
a
him.
living meme.
If you've ever seen the there, I don't know, what was it, maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
Milo-
It was less than that.
It was no, it was
It
probably
was
a
only
year.
a few months ago, I thought.
No, it
I don't
was
know.
before
It's
it was before Trump got elected. It was way before that.
Oh really?
Milo, what is it, Yiannopoulos or
Whatever his name is.
Went to his school, I believe,
Oh.
and he was
The webcam is kind of bugging out there.
Yeah, it does that a little bit.
could have been watching soda but got stuck here. That's messed
Brady,
up.
come on.
That's just rude.
Well, I mean,
We love soda.
I do love soda.
Um,
Anyways, continue.
host us. Clip this, send it in the chat. What was I saying? Oh yeah,
Milo. Yeah.
so he went. If you don't know Milo, he is a gay Republican that is, I guess, anti-feminism. We'll say, not anti-female, but anti-feminism in its current form. And so he went to the University of Miami in Ohio, which is where our friend Matt went to school. And as is normally the case when Milo goes to a school, he stood in front of a crowd of students that all thought that they were going to be the one to dethrone Milo, and our friend was among that group. Unfortunately, what ended up happening? Well, yeah. What ended up happening to our acquaintance was nothing short of a disaster. If you can, I don't even remember the title of the video.
I'll find it.
It was like Asian gets destroyed by Milo Yiannopoulos or something like that.
yeah.
And
It's pretty good.
if you're ever curious, definitely take some time. Yep, there he is. Hey, Milo obliterates student who called him a white supremacist. With subtitles.
Dude,
is that the main one?
Yeah.
It is. Truly incredible. Definitely give it a watch.
442,000 views. Wow.
Matt, if this clip ever ends up on your phone, I hope you're doing
Milo
right.
crushes liberal student. And it was brutal too.
That
It was
fun. I
not
remember
even.
that was
Hey,
circulating
that's
through our
got a
friend
lot of
group.
views too, doesn't it? How many views does that have?
440,000.
See, I saw one that I swear had over 1 million.
Well, I
there's
think
gotta
one
be plenty.
One definitely got posted somewhere else.
There's got to be a ton.
I know that I've seen one on YouTube that had like 2 million or something.
Oh, surely. Like, there's no
Because
doubt.
it was on Milo's channel.
Yeah,
the
it was
original
on his
video.
actual channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was brutal. I love the thumbnail though. It's
The
just
thumbnail's
his
literally,
face,
yeah,
just
our
like
friend-
just
Yeah.
so disappointed in his face.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
rough, man.
It doesn't get much better than that.
They probably got
I
taken
think
down.
it
There's
might
probably a
have
ton
been
that got
I
taken
think it
down.
might have been the main video, like the video of the entire thing that had a lot of views, and then this one segment.
Yeah, because
Oh,
he
yeah,
was like the
that's what I
last
got.
question or like one of the ending
Yeah.
questions
Oh,
because
it's horrible.
Milo just absolutely slaughtered him and no one else would have.
Well, and,
You know.
and the funny thing about it is too, if you know anything about the University of Miami, there were not many people on our friend's side. I think at one point he told me that like I don't even know, like 85% of the college was Republican or something like that. And our friend was trying to defend some liberal rights, and it just
That's from him. I don't even know. what
man,
it is, though.
it did not go well.
I have no idea what the demographic of Miami is.
I think he once said that the average salary, so like weighing in the entire amount, the average salary of a student's parents that went there was $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. They definitely pride themselves on that fact too down there.
On that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think they're an Ivy League school. Public Ivy.
Miami of
trash.
Ohio. Well, Kent State's flying up there, but
Weekly bets for daring to do stupid stuff.
I don't want to do stupid stuff.
Now,
Why not,
here-
Darren?
Let's hear in the on the side here in the chat. If you want,
Oh, no,
me,
here we go.
myself, my friend Ian over here,
Yeah.
or Darren, to do anything that you yourself wouldn't want to do, let us know.
Maybe there's a good chance that Cody will do it because it's probably not.
I'd say
gonna
there's
be
a solid chance I do something dumb within the next 2 weeks.
I'd say there's a solid chance of any of us
I'd
doing
prefer not to do
something.
it for free, but like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to
Sponsor
make
it?
our crowd
You
happy.
trying to get a sponsored video?
Patreon link
Patreon link.
down below.
Wow,
the video.
already plugging the
Selfless
Patreon.
plug, boys,
Wow.
selfless plug.
That didn't
gotta
take
pay,
long.
Gotta pay those loans back somehow.
I don't think those.
I don't think that's where this is going.
Defaulting, okay, instantly going
Yeah.
to South Africa.
Yeah,
That's been
you're
my
gonna
plan
need to
for
get some
years.
credit cards if you want to pay those off.
Yeah, let me get your zero interest. That'd be nice. Just let me use that.
Well,
loan
we'll
me.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll think about it once you get some donators on that Patreon. So just keep plugging that.
I'm plugging it, dude. I'm plugging it. I'm the king of e-begging. You
No, okay, you can't say. Are you
not
serious?
e-begging. I am the king of begging. Okay, listen.
Oh, here we go.
Downstairs
Here we go.
right
Is this
now,
the first vetoes
Oh,
vent?
no.
Downstairs.
Is this the first vetoes vent?
Listen.
Where's
downstairs-
Chad, bro?
Downstairs in this very house right now, I have a computer. I mean, I'm not trying to flex. It has a 1070. It's a pretty solid card. Has an i7 7700K. RAM's pretty.
You can't brag about it if you
It's
didn't
alright.
buy
Hey,
it.
you only got 8 gig RAM, dude. What are you talking about?
Hey.
Stop trying to talk this up.
Hey.
I have 2 monitors.
Are you
I have
gonna
an Xbox.
talk about having 8 gigs of RAM in a downward talk when you told me you would sell me some RAM?
Hey,
But
well,
I get
okay,
here-
Okay.
But I get here
Moral of the story
in the
is
summer
I got it for free.
and I don't
I
have.
haven't paid for anything.
I think my computer story, getting my computer
Wow,
story for
way
free,
better
is
story.
much
Way
better than
better
yours.
Oh,
story.
it's-
My
it is
story was
pretty good.
messaging Grant over Hangouts and saying, "This computer's gonna sell out soon. Can you buy it and I'll pay you back?" He's like, "I got it."
Pay you back, yeah.
Said I
that's-
Pay you
got
back
it.
in quotes,
That's
Dan,
bro.
how many times have I said I'm gonna pay you back?
Never.
I did once. When you paid my when you
I did once for all of the money that I've given you.
when you paid my rent the one time. Well, you paid like half my rent the one time.
Yeah.
I said I promise I'll give
College
you
apartment
back.
rent.
And I don't. It just didn't. I think it didn't happen because then, like, fast forward a month later, you'd spent like 10 times the amount that I owed you on me,
On RuneScape.
and I was just like, well, no, like on me, just like
Oh, on you.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And, like,
I spent 10K on
laptop,
Taco Bell for Cody.
monitor, yeah. I mean, honestly, the last 2 years.
I don't
it's-
think you could say 10K on Taco Bell, but like
food?
it might not be that far fetched to say for food in general.
For the past 2 years, probably.
Oh
And
yeah.
you guys eat
It's a
out
great
literally
life,
every day.
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's not nearly as much as what it used
All
to
right,
be.
we're gonna start.
wanna-
We're gonna start story time with Ian, number 1. Well, just story
Lose
time
the
in general.
Shorts.
Wow.
I
Lose the
eat
shorts.
mad booty for 20.
Is he talking about my shorts? Whose
It's
shorts is
gotta
he
be,
talking
don't
about?
I don't know, bro.
Do you
Might
guys
be
even
mine.
have shorts on?
I have shorts
I
on.
don't.
Well,
Ian's
dude,
shorts
I'm like
are
the only
pretty-
person whose
pretty
legs you
sexy.
can see in any of the shots.
Well, you don't have
Maybe
much
it is
legs,
me.
so
Well, hey, that I take offense to that. So
I
know.
eat mad booty 420. All right, let's see. Let's try to narrow down which one of these friends is mine. I think
All of them.
it's gonna
What's
be.
wrong with shorts?
It might be Nino or Josh. It's hard to say. It's probably Josh. It would be I would be surprised if it
Oh,
wasn't.
he wants
Josh.
all of them gone.
Wow. Like all the
I mean,
shorts.
I
So
can
when you
I
say
can take
loose
off
the
my
shorts,
pants.
when you say loose the shorts, do you mean you want us to take our pants off, or do you mean like you want us to not? Wear
I was
shorts?
already texted and told to take my shirt off on stream.
Oh,
Well,
no.
dude,
So
There you go.
anything for the views, right?
Pause.
no, we're not that kind of channel yet.
Anything for views.
We're not that
Just
kind of
wait-
channel yet, bro.
Just wait until I start my vlog channel, dude.
We're not
Anything
doing
for
it.
views part 2. Let's get it rolling.
All right, so the story of how I got my computer. All right,
Yeah.
this is one of the best stories, one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. And it's probably different for Darren on the other side, but it worked out. I think it worked out. Anyways, last summer, so I was using this laptop to play my video games, right, which is just awful,
There you go.
atrocious, right?
Well, using a laptop in general, just
That's hard to argue with. It's hard to argue with. Anyways, so we're sitting at our friend's house called the gym. I'm sure you'll learn about that eventually.
Jim.
But
That's like
Oh,
that's
no.
like days of content. Honestly.
yeah, there's too much stuff that happened there.
That's like
We'll
weeks
get
of
into that.
content.
We'll get into that. If people want that, we'll talk about it, but
talk
we'll see what
about
happens.
it.
So anyways, I'm like talking to my friend Ben, and I'm like, Ben, over the summer, I'm gonna get Darren to buy me a computer for sure. For sure. For sure. Gonna buy some.
Bet 5.
Yeah, I said Darren. I bet Darren will buy me a computer over the summer, right? So it's the third day of summer last year. Yeah, third day of summer last year, and I walk in to the gym, and I'm like, I sit there for a couple hours, right? And I'm like waiting for Darren to say, "Man, I'm really hungry," because I had this plan. Right? I'm like, Darren. Darren turns around. He says, "Ian, Ben, do you guys want to go get some food?"
You guys
And
are
I said,
manipulative.
"Yes." And I said, Darren, if you buy me a computer right now, I will go get you food for the entire summer. And I made it clear that I wasn't buying the food for Darren. I was just going to drive and get it. So I was playing on how lazy Darren is. But moral of the story is, I got the computer eventually, but there was some heavy negotiations, and Darren almost said no a lot of times. But I have good friends.
I did say no a lot of times.
Yeah. But then my friend Ben, who's very good at finagling things, got involved, and he and I grounded down Darren until he was enough to pay half. Well, enough to pay half of my computer, and my good friend Jack paid for the other half as well. But the best part of it is that I only got Darren food 3 times.
Did you even?
I think I got it 2 or 3 times.
I don't even remember it ever happening, but
2 or 3 times.
You know,
But then
the way that you didn't owe me that debt anymore is
yeah, that's where I'm going now. That's where I'm going now. So it's like 2.5 months later. Like not even like there's still a month of summer left, and we're sitting there, and there's a really good Asian restaurant called Ming Hing in town. In the town we live at. If you're watching this, you can sponsor us. That'd be great.
Love you, Ming Hing.
Yes. Anyways, so we're sitting in a friend as a friend.
Someone donated $1.
Like actually.
For real?
Yeah, like actually.
Bro.
Pog.
A concerned father.
A concerned father.
Yeah.
Wait.
Ben,
Is that
Ben
no?
here?
Is that? It might be my
Who
dad.
knows?
It might actually be my
His
dad.
name is a concerned father, but you know.
It might literally be my dad. Like
Well,
not a joke.
You know, shout out to Ian's dad then.
That would be
our first
really.
dollar.
No, that's
We're gonna have
one
to,
of my
We're
friends.
gonna have to frame that and put it up on the wall.
We will frame that and put it on the wall. So,
Here
right here.
we go.
There's a nice spot right here or over there. It doesn't matter. Anyways.
Yeah.
So the best part of the story is we're ordering Ming Hang as a group. There's like 10 of us.
Yeah.
And everyone in the group is socially awkward and can't talk on the phone. So
well, I don't know that it's that. I think it's just that we're all like the amount of lazy that we all are can't be put into words.
well, there's
and
a lot of
nobody wants to
there's
go
a lot
through
of
the
both.
effort. So, and here's the thing: you got to talk to Chinese people on the phone, and it's like,
Oh, here we go.
well,
Whoa,
I'm just
whoa,
saying.
whoa.
Sometimes it's hard.
There is
to,
a Chinese
you know.
food. There is a lot of Chinese food.
Oh,
whatever.
is there a message, dude?
Oh, there's a message. I feel like.
All right, so read the message. So here we go.
Hold up. I'm not. Just keep going with your story.
Yeah.
I
So
gotta-
so we're ordering this Chinese food, right?
Yeah. Is this even set up? I didn't even know people could donate.
Well, it's. I mean, you can donate, but I don't have the.
We don't have the alerts because
Yeah.
who's going to donate in the first
Oh, yeah.
podcast?
But I
Anyways,
just gotta find that.
we are we're ordering Chinese food. Half the group is socially awkward, can't order food. The other half is lazy. So it's usually just me or my other friend that order food, Ben. You'll hear a ton of stories about Ben. Anyways, so we're ordering Chinese food.
I got that message.
All right,
by
right.
the
Read that
way.
message. Read that message.
This is just a quick reminder to get off your ass and get a real job.
Oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Joke's on you. You're banned.
Ban. So we're ordering Chinese food and we're waiting for Cody and Darren to get to the gym where we are because we're waiting. We're waiting on them to eat. No. We're waiting on them. They said wait on us to eat. So we said okay. They show up to the gym with McDonald's. Okay. So Ben gets pissed because he's been waiting for his food. So he's like, I'm not ordering this food for Darren. And I said, okay, I'm gonna order food for everyone, right? No, Ben says I'm ordering food for everyone besides Darren because Darren's the one that drove to McDonald's. Because Cody was like, I can't drive. I don't, whatever.
But see, like he's still under the impression that we weren't gonna get other food though.
Yeah.
Like we just
That's
the
okay.
McDonald's was the
Yeah.
appetizer.
I think he was more mad because we were waiting. Is the issue.
Okay.
But here's the kicker, right? Darren looks at me and says, Ian, if you order the Chinese food for everyone besides Ben, your debt on the computer is waived. And I immediately just said deal. Right? I love Ben, but
Okay, but
it's
then
it's an
goes a little bit-
$1,100 computer, and he just waived half of it off.
Okay, but it goes a little further than that because I don't even know who else was involved in this. But so what Ben does then
Oh, this is good.
is after we order the food, Ben
yeah.
calls and he's like, "Hey, we just ordered like
He named the order.
Literally just said like a few things that were on the order
Yeah.
and was like, I need to add whatever he wanted to it, right?
Yeah.
So we got like food for 10, 12 people or something like that. I don't know what's on there. We go there, we put the whole thing on one card or whatever, Half the people end up not giving me money for it, whatever.
Classic
It was-
Darren has money stuff.
Yeah. And so then we get back to the gym and we're like passing out the food and everything, and I'm like, where did this extra stuff come
Ben
from?
just sneakily walks up to. He like walks behind
Yeah,
you and like
he
grabs
like,
it.
tried to take it, but I realized it, right? He didn't get it. So then I was like, no, you're not getting this, and then I just took it, right? So then later on, I was like, his stuff was probably like $10, but as I said before, there's no way I'm getting money from everyone for the stuff that we're. There's no way I'm getting all my money back from that. So I'm like, Ben, you can have this for $20, and his stuff was maybe like $5.
There you go.
This was at the point to where everyone had money, and so like it didn't matter to anyone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories of Darren having money that he just blew it on some stupid things.
Yeah.
Not even talking about like the big stuff, but like buying the $40 bag of M&Ms for me and Ben. Like that was
Well,
something.
that was it's a convenience thing,
If we just want to open up the topic on dumb stuff Darren has bought.
Oh, that's just
we
a whole
don't wanna go
podcast.
down there.
We're gonna have to have an entire YouTube video dedicated to just stories about
3 hours.
Darren's expenses that are dumb.
Let's talk about
in general.
the worst one though. Let's
Hold on,
let's do one.
Wait.
Not worst purchase, but worst action.
Hold on, wait. Hold on.
No.
Okay. Where are you going, Vito?
Our friend is clumsy.
Well, not even that. He bought the $1,400 curved TV, and what, do you have it for like? I don't even know. How long do you have
it?
it?
For a while. I had it for like a year, didn't I?
Yeah, but it was an impulse buy. You walked into Best Buy and
Well,
you're like,
okay,
"Oh, that's the most
actually,
expensive
you know what?
TV
This
there.
is
I'm
a
gonna
good
buy it."
story. This is a good story, and if my mom hears this, she might get mad at me for it.
She definitely will.
So my mom, she teaches preschool, right? She has a preschool class in her house, and she needed a TV like to play kids TV shows on sometimes, right? I just dropped my phone.
Nice.
So
That was only $1,000.
She said she's needed $1,300.
Yeah.
Another time. So
iPhone launch.
she gives me $250, $300, I think. I don't remember, to go buy a TV, right?
Yeah.
She's like, "Here's money. Go buy me a TV. I need better." So, I go to Best Buy, right? And I'm looking around at TVs, and I'm like, "Man, these TVs for like $250, like, she just wanted whatever to play Netflix." So I'm like. So I'm looking around at TVs and I see this, right? So it's on clearance, right? $1,400 was a deal.
Great deal.
It's normally like $2,000, right?
Great
So I'm like,
oh, that's the best deal.
I'm
you
like,
get,
well,
honestly.
because it was in like
Yeah.
it was in like an open box.
Oh,
so
that was my computer. That was my
yeah.
computer. Was
So I see this TV and I'm like, well, that's a good deal, man. I can't pass up on that.
Absolutely.
Be
a sin.
So
Darren, I've never spent $1,400 on one thing in my entire life.
Well, hey, I think it was worth it if I wouldn't have broke it, but
Yeah,
So, anyways, I decide, you know what? I got a 42-inch TV at home that I can replace this with, or replace with this new one. So I'm like, I'll buy that one, put the whatever $250, $300 my mom gave me to that, and then I'll buy like a $20 Roku and stick on my old non-smart TV, and then that'll work fine for her,
big
right?
place,
So,
right.
I give her
like
my
taking
TV
advantage
and
of preschool kids at your mom's house.
well, I mean, it's still a good TV. It wasn't a bad TV. It just wasn't a smart TV. But you slap a Roku stick or a Fire Stick or whatever on a TV, and it's a smart TV. Or a Chromecast, whatever. But I think I ended up giving my mom most of the money back, but because I'm just a nice guy like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
what
You
a
do sound
guy.
like a really nice guy though, with all the stuff you buy
Yeah,
everyone.
Well,
like if you list the
it's
acts that
been
you
a long
do,
time since I've
Wow.
bought stuff for people.
That's
great.
true. Anyways, continue.
Well,
We're getting
I
to the
buy
juicy
stuff-
parts.
I buy little stuff for Vito here and there. Sometimes I'll buy food or whatever, but it's been a long time since like I bought Ian's computer or like I bought Vito Xbox or whatever. It's been a long time since I've done something like that.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is Darren gets the TV and he has it and he's adjusting the living room, and it's a big TV and he neglects to watch where he's picking up a coffee
it's
table.
very fragile too. It's
And
very
look
fragile.
at this body. He can probably
Well, the coffee
not even see
table,
over that.
he picks the coffee table. He doesn't like
His
go.
wingspan might not even be as
No,
wide
he
as
doesn't
the
even.
TV,
He
I'm
doesn't
not
even.
sure.
No, he doesn't even go for the long end. He like picks it up like when you grab it underneath it, and you like lift it up like this way, and when he lifted it up to turn it, just cornered the TV.
It was bad.
Like it was just.
But and the thing is,
be aware of your surroundings, dude.
Well, here's the
Who
thing.
hasn't just sent
They
their
make
TV into
TVs
the
too
corner of the
fragile.
stand,
Somebody needs to come up with a better glass on a TV that doesn't break. When you hit it, right?
Do TVs get hit a lot, Darren?
Well, probably, dude.
Do they?
What if you had little kids that just throw stuff all around?
Why don't we use like CRTs anymore? Whatever. I mean, that's the real problem. That's these young. I mean.
Oh, here we go.
These young people in today's society, they will never understand the struggle we had. I mean, you had a 12-inch TV. That thing was 2 tons easy.
These young people. He says as he's 22.
We gotta figure out whatever's going on in the bottom half.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, man.
I do not.
Does it happen to the
It's
other
whatever.
ones?
It seems to.
Yeah, it happens to all of them.
I don't know what.
So this is a good time to say that if you're watching, there's a nice heart button at the top. You should click on to follow the channel.
Click my.
You'll get a notification. I don't know, probably. I don't know. But yeah, follow that. It helps a lot. Subscribe if you. Twitch Prime. You get 1 free subscription. I don't even know.
I don't know if you know this, but if you parent.
I don't even know if we can do subs. Can we even do subs?
No, I don't think so.
No, because we're not partner.
Well, listen. Let me just tell you in advance, because once we get partnered after this phenomenal.
Hey, look, a fat cat in the hallway.
After this phenomenal podcast. So if you don't know, if you are a subscriber of Amazon Prime, or your parents, or a brother, or someone that doesn't use Twitch, you can link your Amazon account to your Twitch account, and it's crazy. So Amazon owns Twitch, and they allow you to subscribe to one channel any month. And keep in mind, it doesn't resub automatically like a normal sub would. So you have to make sure you go back into our channel every month once we get partnered and subscribe to us. When we
get partnered for our next podcast.
I love how sure he is.
Yeah, well, you know.
Pogs. That's what we do.
Darren.
Big pog.
What?
It's funny, your facial expressions, man.
Dude, I don't understand. I don't understand any of this stuff, right, dude? Like, poggers and whatever other.
Darren doesn't have time to watch Twitch.
Dude, I don't got time to watch Twitch. I gotta make this game.
You don't like that?
I don't have time to mess with other games.
That's a good segue. Hey, we're gonna story time's over. It's time to talk about the game. It's time to talk about brass tacks. We're jumping into the game. So Darren, give us the nice premise and like what we're gonna do and what our main things are, and then we'll kind of branch off of that.
All right. So the name of the game is The Gather.
Mm-hmm. Hard name to come up with.
Yes. Well, we went through a few names before we got there.
Yep.
We had a good.
If you look at the
we had a good like 5-minute long discussion, on Google Hangouts about what the name was gonna be.
Sponsor us, Google
Hangouts. It was honestly, we came up with the name in about 5 minutes. It wasn't that hard, but
I'm pretty sure that like all of the social media stuff still has our like first name.
If you take a look
everything.
at the subreddit, at the top of the subreddit,
the Terra Mecca or whatever.
Terra Mecca.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
It's a good name.
Phenomenal artwork done by.
Oh yeah, by yours truly. That as I said, I do everything. I'm an artist, right? Not really. I'm a terrible artist. But...
Dude, don't sell yourself short. Listen to me. You are a god among men. Okay.
Well, if I was a good artist, I wouldn't be outsourcing character models then. But,
That's hard to argue with. Anyways.
Can't do everything.
Continue.
So, anyways, it is a shooter game. You know, futuristic.
Third person.
Yep, third person shooter. Post-apocalyptic, robot post-apocalyptic. So, think of like Terminator. Skynet's coming in, taking over the world, right?
But we're not taking their ideas though.
Yeah, but we're not taking their ideas. Because ours aren't called Skynet. They're called the Gather.
Yeah.
Who cares if they function
The
almost
AI are
almost
coming.
exactly the same? So,
Oh.
think of like Terminator taking over the world. You ever see Terminator Genesis?
No.
Great
Nope.
movie.
No.
I haven't seen that one.
Probably horrible, to be honest.
Well,
Is that the new one?
That's the newest one that arguably is.
Okay.
So like the Emoji Movie is the best movie
Oh,
of all time,
okay.
and this is
Oh,
arguably
yeah.
on par with that.
This is when you zoom into my face and I give them the "Why is he talking still?" face.
Well, okay, but anyways, off the topic of movies, robot apocalypse, robots, we're supposed to be good, be the savior of humanity, and instead decided to kill us all.
Yep.
So, the game's set a few generations after this takes place, and nobody alive knows what the world was like before the robots, right? So, basically, you got some different kinds of characters that have different abilities.
Based on where they're from.
Yeah. So there's several different locations in the game, or like, I guess regions, or we called them cells. And they're kind of known for different things. One's like a forest region where they're kind of good at camouflage and stuff, and you've got like a winter Arctic kind of region, a urban area.
Are the
And
people
they're all-
are the people in the Arctic good at staying warm? Are they all fat?
No, they're just
Fat people. You know,
they're just automatically
Sorry,
like immune
like-
to winter.
like no games have like, I mean, some games have like big people.
Okay,
Alright, but-
hey, calm
like,
down,
but
Tim.
here's-
Hey, calm
But
down,
here's
Tim.
the thing, if you
But
really...
but listen, fat people are underrepresented in this society.
Well, okay, but here's the thing, man. If you're being somewhat realistic, they probably don't have like any food,
Wow.
and they're running around with guns and gear and stuff, and they're just running like nonstop. So
True.
it's like virtually impossible for them to be fat.
Yeah.
Understand.
So if
I
you
mean,
want to
not
be
virtually
realistic,
impossible, but
you
yeah.
can't have fat people. But
Anyways, different
Uh,
cells fighting against the Gather.
yeah, so the first mode that we'll be releasing and that you'll be playing is sort of like a horde mode, wave-based
Nazi
combat.
zombies type.
Yeah, Nazi zombies, Gears of War horde, that kind of deal. Mixed in with Killing Floor is a really good example of where we're going with it. But we're trying to mix in a lot of elements from a lot of different types of games. So you'll get like a big class system, a good big class and skill system like an RPG. A good like loadout system to set up, what weapons and gear you want to use, and you'll get different weapons and gear based on your classes and what skills you have available. So we're trying to work on a system that kind of takes what's already there with in games today as far as like skill trees.
The
and
good
classes
things from
go.
games today.
We're trying to kind of take all the good things, combine them with some new things, and mesh a lot of genres together. So that's really the main goal, and a lot of it's going to be, balancing and figuring out what works and doesn't work, and that's where the community feedback's really going to come in.
Yeah, most definitely.
So that kind of leads into the next thing about the development of the game. We're trying to be very community driven, so people play the game. We do like this podcast every week. We'll also
be
do,
very
like, a
active on social
weekly-
media.
Yeah, weekly development live stream. With me and Ian, kind of working on the game, and we'll be in Discord talking to people during that, just getting community opinions on ideas that we have and what they think about it. If anybody has any new ideas that they'd like to see implemented or changes made to it, whatever. And we're in Discord all the time, so
Hop on it.
yeah. So Discord's probably our best form of communication, but we got Twitter and everything too.
Especially like in the
Twitter,
early
Instagram,
days.
Reddit, whatever. But if you want to talk directly with other people that are interested in the game or us,
Discord's the way to
Discord
go.
will
All
be-
the links
will
are
be a
below.
very good place. Yeah.
So I guess Ian, you want to talk a little bit about map design and kind of where we're going with that?
Yeah, so like what Darren was saying about there's going to be multiple regions. The ones that we have right now that we're for sure going to have is like a rundown urban area, because that's pretty much a staple of every post-apocalyptic game. Probably a desert type map, a like rural Think of like Iowa or like some of the flatter Midwestern states. Like he said, a forest area for sure. Basically, like if you take all the big regions in the United States, we're gonna have one for each of those. So the current map I'm working on is probably gonna be um, rundown urban based, where you have these big structures in the distance and you can't really see what's happening, but like you can't, it'll be pretty intense and a semi close quarters map to show off um, abilities uh, and the weapons more than aesthetic in the beginning. We really want to have a different feel of gameplay. Um, we really want to mix multiple genres into one. Well, not genres, but play feels and ideas and stuff that have been taken from other games. But we also want to make it feel different and make it like completely community driven. So we have one thing that goes wrong, or not even goes wrong, but someone doesn't like it. So like for example, we're planning on having like massive skill trees, like something that a shooter of this caliber has never seen before. So you have like a skill web of 50 different skills that you can have that work together in unison, or like maybe you have two skills that work together so well that they give you an extra boost to yourself or your team. And we want to have different class types that have different abilities as far as team play goes. So I think we're planning on having 6 characters in the game at once. Maximum 6.
Maximum 6 characters. The game optimally will be played by 4 to 6 people. That's kind of where the that's where the gameplay is going to be most enjoyable, I think. But obviously, it'll be playable, even by yourself, but more optimally enjoyed by friends.
And so like we'll have 6 characters that you can have like your ability, but then beyond the ability, that opens up the skill tree that you can pick from, dozens of skills to use that run together or against your current build. Like we want to have it so like it's a workshop or forge to where you don't have to stay on your whatever. Like we want it to be so like Nazi zombies in Call of Duty, you have to like train around, run around at higher level play. But in like horde mode for Gears of War, I don't know how many people have played that, but you have to like bunker down.
So what we're getting at is, if you've ever played Nazi zombies, you can only sit in a corner and be well defended for a certain amount of time, and once you get to a little bit higher waves, you have to run circles around the map. That's just how it's designed. You can't make it far without doing that.
Yeah.
Gears of War, you have kind of a flip thing. You try to run circles around the map, you're gonna die, and it's not gonna work out, and you have to hunker down. So it forces you to do the one thing, and what we're trying to do is create a style of play that allows you to either run around the map and create that kind of a circle map, or if that's not your cup of tea and you would rather build defenses and make like a little base or something, and hunker down, that's what you can do. So that's something we're trying to incorporate into the map, and skill and ability and weapon design is really get those all working in tandem to create that style of play. Something that I'm really drawing from for inspiration. If you've ever played the new Doom remake that came out in 2016, that's probably one of the most fluid games I've ever played.
For sure.
From just the way that the weapons work to your abilities to the map design, everything works perfectly in tandem and just feels like they took every inch of that game and made it work as polished as it could possibly be. I have pretty much 0 bad things to say about that game, so that's where I draw a lot of my inspiration from this from.
Except when you get stuck in one area for 3 hours.
Well, I mean,
that's just good map design, honestly.
Oh yeah, dude. If I've gotten stuck in some areas before. Cody's seen me playing. And it doesn't. It goes on for a while.
Ends well. Yeah. Is that it for that? do we want to move on to just other gaming stuff, or you guys want to keep talking about
I don't know. You got anything you want to say about it?
it?
Kind of what?
You
Kinda what
emphasize
you're
the
gonna do,
community.
you know?
Yeah, so I can
Some of your plans down the road. And
right. So I can talk a bit more. I mean, I obviously, if you've been here since the start, you heard me talk about kind of what my role is, which is community manager, as well as we're going to be doing some crowdfunding at some point, and I'll be organizing that campaign as well. Just making sure that everything is running optimally. So, like they were saying earlier, our main goal is to make a community driven game, and that is obviously filtered through me. So my goal eventually, and I think we're set up well to do this, is just to make sure that I'm, like for example, what Fortnite does well is, especially if you're on the subreddit, right? They respond to the most liked post about someone having a problem with the game. That's not my intention. My intention is to answer every question. So a guy's having problems connecting with his friends to play.
Are you throwing shade at Ubisoft right now?
So we might.
Yeah. Hey, Ubisoft, if you're watching this, I want to play
Fix
Rainbow
Rainbow Six.
Let me connect.
Please. But yeah, so just
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never had a problem with Rainbow
just
Six
to make
before.
sure, because we are a small studio, right? We're not like, we can't have a number that you just call and they'll fix it. That's just not feasible. So my goal is to make it as easy as possible. If I can't answer your question, to put you in touch with someone that can. And beyond that, this extends beyond problems, right? Because the game doesn't do well if it just solves problems. You have to progress too, right? You have to add in new things. You have to do cool things. So taking recommendations from you guys will be crucial, because we like they were saying, we want to make the best game that you guys want. Like, yeah, we have the idea, but at least from my perspective, I think games are best when it is fueled by the community. So that's going to be kind of my job. You can see at the top of the video there, we have Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, Patreon, not so much, but we have avenues for you guys to communicate with us today. I mean, if you have an idea from what they've talked about, you can go to these places and talk about what you want or what you want to see in this game, and we'd love to hear your advice.
And we will do like what the community wants us to do, like,
as we can.
especially if there's two people that are conflicting ideals about this should be nerfed or this should be buffed. We're gonna take those both into consideration and try to weigh in how much the community wants either of them. So we'll probably post like a poll or just asking around in all the social media to see what people actually want to do or what they want to see added or what they want to see changed, so that we're being productive towards the biggest group. And maybe, like, say the strategy is overpowered, we can show them why you can do any of the other strategies based on all the play tests that we do.
So something I want to add to that, with the community driven development and everything, obviously right now the game isn't out, you can't play it, so it's kind of hard to take in community feedback at this point in time. Obviously we can listen to ideas and we can try to incorporate some of the things that people think would be a good idea, but as far as the first release, it kind of has to stick to our vision of it, just because it's hard to get feedback on something you can't play.
Yeah.
So, but what we're working on now, and hey, you can see Carlos over there.
Carlos,
He's
so fat.
He's scratching his neck, it looks like.
He's so fat.
He's probably gonna come in here and try to get on one of our laps about you. But anyways,
it's definitely not yours. Cody
so
hates
our
you.
first goal is to create a demo, prototype, early access kind of thing, and have it at a playable point that we can release it to the community and see what people think of it, see if they think we're on the right track, if we need to go in a different direction with some things, what works, what doesn't work, and really get feedback from live play testing of it. Now, in tandem with that, I know Cody said earlier we're planning on doing some crowdfunding. What?
There he is.
Yep, he's coming up here.
What?
So Cody was talking about doing some crowdfunding. We are planning on doing a Kickstarter, kind of in tandem with the release of the demo.
Which we don't have a date for yet.
Yeah, we don't have an exact timeline for that. We'll have more updates on that, coming in the next few weeks here. But we do plan to release the demo completely free. Anybody can download it, play it, so you can get a feel for what we're doing, and we'll be releasing that in tandem with starting the Kickstarter. So you'll get, if funding the Kickstarter is something you want to do, you can do that, and you can see what you're putting your money into before you actually do, and see if it's something that you're even interested in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and kind of going off that, we can talk about what
Ben, ETA for the demo is
we're shooting for
hopefully
July.
Yeah,
sometime in July,
end
I
of
would
summer. So I'm not gonna say at latest because
I would say late July, early August is my goal. I don't want to say that as like an actual. That's when it's gonna be out.
Oh,
That's
Ben knows how your goals work, Darren.
Well, and let's talk about what we plan to do with the Kickstarter too, because the game certainly doesn't end with the Horde mode.
Oh no!
So if you want to talk about
so
what
obviously
you have
we
planned
haven't
this year.
shed any light on this at all yet, but so we've been talking about the Horde mode, and that's kind of where we're starting from. Right now, that's our only game mode for multiplayer that we have in the works. I mean, we've tossed around some other ideas, but we think that's the best place to start with.
I mean, I'm sure there's PvP that will be implemented eventually, just because.
Yeah, if that's something people want down the road, obviously. But our next goal after that Horde mode, and this is kind of what the Kickstarter will fund, is a campaign mode. That'll be multiplayer as well, playable with 4 to 6 people, or any number of people, but 4 to 6 being optimal again. And what we want to, so we argued about this from the beginning, whether we should start with the campaign or start with the multiplayer. What we wanted to release first. Okay, that's an inside story.
Anything that's named the decay factor dies horribly, and you know that, Ben.
So where was I at with it? Okay, so we were arguing about, or not really arguing, but just discussing, do we want to make the campaign first? Do we want to make the multiplayer first? And something we really want to get right with this is the storyline of the game and creating environments for the game and that line up with the storyline, having good voice acting, all of that stuff. And obviously that stuff takes money. So it basically came down to, we can do the Horde mode and multiplayer portion of it on a much smaller budget than we can do the campaign on. So, we can do that and get that out to people and, have people start playing the game.
Get some following.
Hopefully you like it.
Yeah.
And we get some following and maybe
like
get some money.
More, and if you don't like it, then enjoy Horde mode.
Yeah, and I mean...
Then you single-handedly killed my dream.
Jeez.
So obviously we don't have a strict budget lined out for this yet, but when we do launch the Kickstarter, we'll obviously have a goal for the project, and basically every dollar in that goal will be accounted for. Where we're gonna spend this money on, X amount of dollars on voice actors for these characters, and props for these levels, and etc. So pretty much everything we get is going straight back into the game.
I wouldn't even say pretty much. I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about some other stuff like merch and everything like that, but that's going to be a thing if people are interested in it.
Yeah.
What's up, my dude? Okay. Does that wrap up that for now?
For the most part,
yeah.
Unless anybody has any questions.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask on any of the social medias or right now.
Chat. Sure. I think we're going to be posting this other places too.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. I don't know that this one is going to be on iTunes just because I haven't looked into anything with that yet, but we do plan to put this up on iTunes as well, but for sure it'll be on YouTube.
I think it might be better actually. I was reading something about the iTunes like algorithm, and apparently is significantly better for exposure if you upload like 3 or 4 when you first start. Because I guess I don't have any Apple products, but I guess how it works is like, or not how it works, but I guess there's a thing that's for new podcasts or something like that, and you can get featured on that, and that's on like the top, and if you get featured on that, it's pretty lit. Carlos, my
Carlos,
dude.
what are you doing?
Carlos
He's
is
about to
about to
unplug
unplug
the
one of the
camera.
cameras.
Carlos. I'm
Carlos.
getting him, dude.
No, he might. He's trying to jump out the window.
Carlos.
The window's not open enough for him to jump out. And Carlos wouldn't jump out.
Oh, here we go.
Oh no.
Oh, he's gonna go hide under the bed now.
You could hear him whining.
Yeah, he's angry. He's not happy. You gonna learn today, son. So yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to necessarily wait, upload a couple on that, but
YouTube for sure,
it'll
100%
be
on YouTube.
and then you can see it in the VODs here as well. So cool. Do we want to jump into just like other video game talk?
Yeah. Like we said earlier,
Look at
you
Rainbow
know,
Six.
Ubisoft, if you're listening, we would like to play Rainbow Six. So let me connect to the game.
Let me ask you a question. Whatever, Ubisoft. How can it happen that my friend sitting 6 feet away from
Veto vent number 2.
plugged into the same router can connect to a server, but I can't? And then, okay, let me describe this situation. I buy Rainbow Six because I'm like, I want to play Rainbow Six. I have a couple friends that want to play Rainbow Six with me. So let me buy this. So I buy it. I play it like 8 hours straight. Loving this game. Next day, error. You cannot connect to the servers. I turn around and I see my 2 friends playing the game. Now explain to me how I cannot connect to the servers in the same room as people connected to the servers. Now, it gets worse. Last night. So, Darren's sitting over there. They were playing, right, the night before. Last night, Darren comes home from work. Oh, man, I want to play Rainbow. You know, hops on. Now, he has the error, too.
Keep in mind, I'm
He's
playing.
playing the
I'm
whole
playing the whole
Ian
time.
has never had this.
The whole time I'm playing. Like they're complaining behind me about I can't get on servers, whatever.
So yeah, last night I come home, you know, and I'm like,
man.
you know, Ian's playing when I get home, right? So
With
I'm
2
like,
of our other friends.
Yeah, so 2 other people are playing. They're not in this building, mind you, but they're playing. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna jump on. Obviously, Cody's not playing because his thing's messed up, but
Broken.
you know,
Broken.
His
Uninstalled it,
wasn't working.
reinstalled
Yeah.
it, whole 9. Broken.
tried.
You
many
did
things.
everything.
Everything.
You literally did everything.
So you know, I'm like, I'm gonna hop on. So I open it up, same thing as Cody.
Oh, here
Can't
we
connect,
go.
nothing. You know, so.
Pause.
So we're like, well, whatever.
Try.
I guess we're playing other games. So, you know, night goes on. Ian leaves. You know, he's gone. Me and Vito are playing some other games and everything.
Totally.
So about a couple hours later rolls around, and I'm like, you know what? I want to play Rainbow. Let's give this another shot. Works. No problem. I connect. Fine. I'm playing. You know, having a good time.
Let's get
Play
after
for a few hours. Go to sleep. Right. Get up the next day. Ian comes over. We're gonna play some Rainbow. Right. Well, you know, Ian gets on. He's playing, right? He's playing fine, no problems. I open mine up, nothing, can't connect. Vito, can't connect, you know, no.
My game opens up and it's fine.
Yeah, you know, so it's just like hit or miss. I open it,
What a
maybe I'm
joke.
playing, you know.
You know what I mean? What am I doing wrong that I deserve this? It's 2018.
What am I doing wrong? Oh man.
I mean, I don't know what I can do. If you see this, listen. I don't know what I can do.
Look here,
Look
listen.
here. Listen. We gotta be careful about this. TOS. Don't Rainbow talk and look here, listen. Here we go, boys. Down the rabbit hole. I don't know what I can do differently to please you. There's one game that I want to play right now. One. And it is Rainbow Six.
We gave you your money. Let me play the game.
Siege.
We gave you the money.
I buy your game. I play it. I love it. And then I come back the next day and you rip the heart out of me. Is this what you want people to think of your game? I hope this isn't what people think of The Gather. I hope when people play The Gather, they don't play one day and say, this is the best game I've ever played. I love this game. Try to log on the next day. Nothing's changed.
You guys might have actually gotten banned.
No, because it just randomly started working for
well,
me.
Maybe Cody got banned.
What did I get banned for?
I don't know.
I tried to play.
Being too good
tonight earlier and it wouldn't work.
Oh, God, I'm a god. No, whatever. But anyway, to jump off of this topic before I lose my mind, we were talking. Me and Darren. Well, you were here for a little bit of this conversation. We were talking last night about how there's literally 0 games that I mean personally that I want to play right now.
So I think a lot of this stems from, and this is weird because we're liking Rainbow Six, but I feel like it's just because we haven't played it a whole lot. We just
speak
got
for
into
yourself.
playing it. Well, I mean you
it's a
haven't
fun
played it
game.
a ton, have you?
I mean, I have
Not nearly as much.
I have
as...
450 hours on PS4.
Okay,
that's a bit.
Never mind. We're not talking.
I literally
Okay.
got it the night it came out.
Okay, well you're an exception to the rule, so we're not talking to you. So I guess for me at least. So I think for me at least, this is the main problem I have.
Brady
with
has
video
more.
games now. You talk about Overwatch, Fortnite, Rainbow Six. Now hold on. Let me finish. All right, so you talk about these games: Overwatch, Fortnite, Rainbow Six. What are the other big ones right now? How big is Call of Duty still?
Rainbow Six isn't even
Call of
big.
Duty's
Rainbow
dead.
Six is small.
Dead.
No, it's Fortnite,
League,
League,
Dota, all of these
Fortnite,
games, all of these
Overwatch,
games.
PUBG.
Okay, so all of these games have one thing in common: they are extremely competitive. So I can't. It's very hard to play these games casually.
Destiny 2,
right?
huge. I heard.
So you jump into an Overwatch
Less
game,
than
and
2K.
you're just looking for a good time. You don't even care that much about winning.
Unless you're playing
But-
ranked.
Well, yeah, but
We haven't gotten into that. You're not even a
But
high enough
you
level.
You
care about
can't
winning and
play
ranked
these
at this
games, and
point.
unless you're following what the absolute best, the meta is, at the time, whatever the best way to win a game is, if you're not playing that, you're just getting flamed, and people are gonna report you, and you're probably gonna get banned, and it just creates a really toxic and hostile environment, and I feel like people are tired of it, because at this point I don't have a whole lot of a desire to play Overwatch, and I'm getting there with Fortnite, and I don't know that Fortnite creates a toxic environment like Overwatch does, but it's I feel like at this point, at least for me,
You said Rainbow.
no, Fortnite. I think for me, Fortnite's kind of not necessarily Fortnite. Battle Royale as a whole has run its course for me. I've been there, done that at this point.
PUBG is atrocious to this day. I mean, how much
It's
money
just
has
broken.
PUBG made?
Oh,
And I still get stuck in doors that won't open.
It's looting
It's
simulator.
2018.
I mean, I love PUBG. PUBG is fun to me still, but I cannot play it more than an hour.
I can't play it more than.
so getting back
minute.
onto what I said of this competitive thing,
Oh no.
So I used to play a lot of Gears of War. That's probably Gears of War 2 is probably my favorite game ever. And it's competitive. The multiplayer is very competitive. But you get into Horde, you take a break from the competitive side of it. You play with your friends. You play private matches with your friends, You get 10 people in a game and you're just hanging out, talking, playing with your friends. That's not a thing anymore. Nobody just gets in a game with just their friends playing against each other, just having a fun time, It's you get 5 of your friends together on Overwatch, you're on a team, and you just get stomped by people, and you just don't have a good time.
That's like the whole thing with Killing Floor. Killing Floor was so much fun to play because we would just run around and do whatever we wanted.
So that's one of my main.
I mean, same with Minecraft.
That's a big inspiration for me with The Gather is creating a game that's not so competitive. And
People
that you
can
can
fall
just
back
have
to.
fun playing.
People can fall back on it. Like, you're taking a break from grinding out all these sessions about,
Yeah.
and you're getting tilted because you're not winning games in competitive games, and your friends really need a place to go where you're not breaking monitors.
When I lose a game in Overwatch or I lose a game in Fortnite or Rainbow Six, typically I'm upset and like I'm about to throw something.
Yeah.
And
Don't worry,
the thing
Darren.
is that you talk about a game like I was playing last night, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, right?
No.
So this game is obviously designed
To tilt.
to do that. Yeah. They want you to break your
They
things.
play music, when you fall.
but they're upfront about that, right?
Yeah.
It's what the game is.
It's a fun game.
Now
it's funny.
games, when you consider Overwatch and all that stuff, they are not meant to make you mad. You're supposed to only have fun when you play the game.
Not
But
Overwatch.
the ratio of fun to angry that I have playing
That's
almost
the
any
key.
of these games is,
That's the key.
I have like a instinctual reaction when I get mad now to just throw my headset,
He did it yesterday. Wasn't even wearing a headset.
Yeah.
Well,
So
here's the problem. I mean, like you were saying, when I'm playing a game of Overwatch, I mean, when I hop into a comp game, right? Outside of playing the game, I understand that the people around me are just as good as I am, for the most part. We're at the same SR, whatever. They're probably just as good as me. I mean, there's probably some fluctuation and whatever. But I understand that they're probably about as good as me. But when I get into a game of Overwatch, all of that logic goes out the window. I mean, it's gone. Because I will sit here and I'm sure, I'll be like, I'll be playing Reinhardt. I'm a tank man. I'll play a game of Reinhardt, right? And I'll be begging our Mercy for heals. I mean, just begging. Please heal me. I'm your tank. But, 90% of the time I'm begging for heals and I'm getting mad at these trash supports. I'm probably not realizing that I'm just charging in too deep and not blocking them. But it doesn't matter because I still get angry. I can't control.
There's a very fine line where
I just
the first game of the day really sets the mood for me at this point.
It does.
If I win that first game and I'm feeling good, I got my gold limbs, got my gold damage, then I'm like, all right, I can play this. But as soon as it starts to go downhill, I've just started to quit because it gets out of hand.
Yeah. So you get these games, all the popular games nowadays, every one of them that I can think of are all centered on winning a game, winning a match, right? Every one of them. That's what it's about, right? You go back to the days before PC gaming was this big,
Before esports.
Yeah, before esports, before competitive gaming and all that.
Better get them again.
When you had like Halo 1, 2, and 3, you had Gears of War, even the earlier Call of Duties like Modern Warfare 2, the first Modern Warfare, World at War. These games that when you played them, even when you played the competitive game types in them, like playing online against people.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. Call of Duty tilted me a lot.
But
as a young child.
You're telling me
I think it was in a different way.
Because
It was definitely a different way because
I feel like these games, even in a competitive sense, didn't have such a focus on winning.
well,
I
no,
didn't care
definitely
as
not.
much
It
if
was
I
it
won.
was the kills, like the KD. Like
Yeah.
if you were getting killed, then you're just getting mad.
I think I raged more in Call of Duty than I did in Overwatch.
The thing is,
when I played Modern Warfare 3, right?
Well, what's
I
an
wasn't
Xbox
even
controller?
working.
$50? What's your computer?
No.
1,000?
Listen.
Wow.
When I played Modern Warfare 3, I broke 3 copies of Modern Warfare 3. Now, when I say broke, I did the same thing 3 times within 2 months. I got mad in a game. I had the whatever you want to call it, mindset enough to get out of my chair, go up to my Xbox, open the tray, and snap the disc. And I did that 3 times in 2 months.
I think the issue is that in games,
I threw 3 controllers into the wall as well. But
in games like Overwatch especially, is so focused on team play, and you have to be semi-coordinated. That a game like Call of Duty it's all about yourself. Like you're gonna do as good as you're gonna do, kill wise. But Overwatch, you're gonna be having the best game of your life. You can have 50 limbs, 1,500 damage as Tracer, but your whole team is getting stomped, and you're getting tilted because you're gonna blame your teammates for that, which in that situation is good to do, but not all the time. So like, I find myself getting mad at my teammates more than myself when I play games I mean, Fortnite's different because
Well, and I'm gonna
you know.
say something on that. I think a lot of it too is with the evolution of, well, we'll say Twitch or esports in general. I see the best players, and I think my problem is when I watch the best players play, I see the supporting cast around them, and they're all doing their job. And so in my mindset, it's everyone else's fault because they're not as good as other people, right? They're not doing their job right. And I think it's because I have this irrational idea that at 2,500, my support is going to be able to die as little as someone in the Overwatch League. I mean, obviously that's not rational, but it's just this like constantly occurring mindset where I see a Mercy go in for a res she shouldn't go in for, and I'm tilted. Or I see a Widowmaker that's
Darren.
That's
Whoa.
I see,
I'm the best body shotting Widow ever.
I see a Widowmaker in my game that's bronze and is paired with like a high platinum, and that's why they're in my game. And they're not hitting anything. I'm wondering, why is this bronze? Why? First of all, why are the platinum paired with a bronze? Second, why is this bronze playing probably the highest skill character?
Okay, now you see this is.
But it's stuff like that accumulates over time that is just like, I can't stand it.
So
like,
that's part of the problem I have.
level?
That's part of the problem I have with the design of these games. Now, I don't care if you're the worst Widowmaker ever.
Yeah.
If that's what you have fun doing, that's what you should be doing.
Then.
Even if you play
that's
quick
my problem.
play,
And that's my problem with why you play comp.
But you can't
because you should play competitive to win. You should play quick play to have fun. Like I don't play Overwatch to have fun at all. Let's clarify.
I can't have fun in quick play because the problem is that the game is so structured that you have to have a good team composition in order for it to work.
Yeah.
You know that when you play quick play, all you get is 6 DPS every time. Yeah. And then you're just getting stomped and it's not fun. So you can't even have fun playing quick play, so you have to play comp. But then you're playing comp and then you can't play what you want to play because
you're playing comp.
Yeah. So, you basically never get to have fun.
But I don't know. But that's my problem a lot of times too, is like people will use that as a cop out in game. So I will call out the soldier that has gotten killed by the Pharah 4 times in a row. I'm saying, you're not doing your job. She's not even pocketed. I don't even think she's gotten heals.
That's just
embarrassing.
And
you're not doing your job.
That's just so embarrassing.
And he's like, well, I'm not good at hit scan. I'm just trying to get good. And that is the most tilting thing in the world for me, is when someone is playing competitive with a character they can't play at all and throwing my SR as a result. And that, I mean, there's a bunch of things that tilt me about Overwatch, but that's just one. That's why that's why Overwatch in general is dying. But competitive is just the most tilting thing ever. And then you have people like Darren just buying accounts, playing at elos that they do not deserve to be at, 3,700 or whatever, and losing 1,000 SR.
You know what
season.
I don't understand? Okay, so for those people who don't know, I bought it was a little over 3,000. It was like 3,100, I think, when I bought it. I bought an Overwatch account, right? Because I was stuck in gold, I think, at the time. And
high gold.
Yeah, I was high gold, and I'm like, dude, whatever I do, I get to 2450 SR, and then I just nosedived to 2,000, back to silver, basically. I get back up.
It happens it was like a daily occurrence.
It's like I feel like I need to just break past this wall, and I'm like, forget it. How much does an account cost? Because I feel like I should be at a higher level, right? So I buy this account. Now, what I don't understand, I paid $30 for this account, right? Overwatch costs $40 to begin with.
Dumb purchase.
So I don't understand how someone buys Overwatch for $40 and then sells. But it's not even like he played on this account. These people literally just farm. They make accounts. They get them to a level. Now maybe this was just a failed one. I don't know. Maybe this guy makes like Grandmaster accounts and sells them or whatever, right? But I don't understand how you buy it for $40 and then sell the account for $30. And it's not even just that. The account had Diablo 3 on it too. So essentially I bought 2 games. That's like what, a combined $70, $80 depending on the sales.
Good purchase.
For $30.
I take my previous statement back.
What? But I mean, I already had both of them on my account, so I didn't even care.
Have you opened Diablo on the other account? Maybe it was a Diablo thing he was trying to sell.
No,
and you don't even know.
Specifically, well, I don't know, but I think it had StarCraft. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it had StarCraft too. So
I've never played StarCraft.
But it's weird to me that that's the price for it. And that's still like the price for it. So I don't understand. But anyways, I buy this account and I kind of float around in Diamond for the first season that I had it, and then the second season I did pretty good and got it up to Master. It was like 3,700, and then the next season comes. I placed it like right at 3,500. I think I was in Diamond, like right below it, but it was like right between Diamond and Master. And I don't think I won a game. Like it was bad.
That's how this season started for me.
I went down over 1,000 SR like in 2 days. Not even. It was bad. Like, and it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't feel like I was, because I was doing everything I could. Like, if we needed a healer, I was playing a healer. If we needed a tank, I was playing a tank. And I'm not the best tank. I probably shouldn't be playing tank because I'm not good at it. But I'm pretty good at support. I'm pretty good at DPS. But
that is the one thing about Overwatch is that like you have these days where you just nosedive, like 300 SR. But then you have days like yesterday for me, I won like 6 in a row. Yeah. And I was like, man, I better quit while I'm ahead so get this SR.
But see, that's the thing is if you're having fun playing the game, it can't get you to the point where you're like, oh, I need to quit so that I don't stop having fun, Well, it's just that shouldn't be what the game does.
People lose 2 games in a row.
And I feel like that's just where the climate of gaming has changed. Is it's not about having fun anymore.
It's not at all.
Because people are too focused on esports and being good at a game to stream it,
and that's the problem.
Which is good in certain situations.
I mean, it's good because it gets gaming out there, and I like that. I think everyone should be able to experience games because they're awesome, But I do agree with what you're saying because, like, when you think about it, right? So esports, it's been trying to be developed. I don't know who started it. Maybe it was CS.
I mean, esports.
CS grew it.
I mean, esports
been around
has
for a
been
long
going
time.
on since the 90s.
I mean, yeah, but not
televised.
Not nearly on this scale. I think CS and like League.
CS, Dota's huge. Yeah, I think CS and Dota and League were the 3 main ones that grew it. Now,
but hold on a second. So like, but what I'm saying is, I don't know if that's like it's good in some ways, right? But I think it's kind of negative because, for example, when you look at professional sports, I'm a basketball fan, so I'll talk basketball. Like I'm a Cavs fan, right? And we just before yesterday we had lost 2 games in a row, and I can visibly tell that the players playing that game are not having fun. And I think the video game environment is starting to experience the same kind of thing. When I watch pro players, we'll say Overwatch, play on stream, half the time you can tell that they are just tilted, not having fun.
I mean, Tim the Tab Man has literally not played Overwatch in like 2 weeks because of how tilted it makes him, which is horrible. It's just horrible.
Yeah, because it's not a fun game most of the time, especially that elo. I can only imagine.
And like, I really like Blizzard as a company and how they treat their games, but they're trying their best.
Overwatch in its base form,
I don't think it's a well-designed game. I think it's a problem.
It's an overall gaming community is the issue.
Yeah, the climate of gaming in general has just changed so much. I mean, is it for the better? Is it for the worse? I don't know. I guess that's a personal opinion, but
I feel like we shouldn't say there aren't good games being released.
Yeah,
because there are. But I agree with the fact that the climate seems to be a bit different. But I will also say I haven't really played many multiplayer PC games. You know what I mean? Which might have something to do with it. Maybe that's how it's.
I mean, like Counter-Strike was. Obviously, Counter-Strike, anyone who ever played it is, it's extremely, extremely competitive.
Right.
But I never felt the way that I did. I mean, I can only play like 2 total games of Counter-Strike a day because they're just so long is the issue.
Well, and the thing is, too, I haven't played much CSGO, so I don't really know how this works in that. But in CS Source, you could play with bots with your friends, and that was pretty fun. Like I could play that for a long time and have fun. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, CS:GO is not like that.
Most games where I'm getting at, when you talk about Call of Duty and Gears of War and Counter-Strike and whatever. They have these competitive game types and they have these competitive modes, but even when you talk about quick play in Overwatch, it's still a competitive game,
Right.
But there's no alternatives. It's competitive and that's it.
Because it's so team based.
That might be why Call of Duty implemented Nazi zombies and stuff, because that's just like a laid back thing. But beyond that, the base game of Call of Duty is very competitive. You want to get all the kills you can get compared to other people. I mean,
the difference is in Fortnite though, in Overwatch, if one player is not playing well, you lose. Like every Call of Duty game I played, you had someone on your team that wasn't good.
You can carry in CS too. That's the thing.
Unless you were 6 stacking or whatever, you had someone on your team that wasn't good. That's just how matchmaking works. But in Overwatch, generally speaking, you can pick out these minor things that everyone on your team is doing wrong. And I feel like that's just really bad to have. I mean, not bad, but for the longevity of a game, it's tilting. Because everyone has to work in unison. Oftentimes you're playing with no one you know, and it's just not going to go well. Mm-hmm. Especially at low elos, people don't care about working as a unit. Some people do. If you play support, you probably do. If you play a tank, you might. If you play DPS, you probably don't. And I don't like it. It's provided some really, really good times, but a lot of times it's me just getting tilted and calling out my teammates for the stuff they're doing wrong. Yeah. And then you're not going to win a game there. Everyone's mad, everyone's angry,
Yeah. So what I've noticed, when you talk about Overwatch, Fortnite, PUBG, what are all the big games now? League, Dota. They don't have variety. That's something everything is lacking. So they have variety in the way the mechanics in the game work, but there's not variety in modes or what you do. So games always used to have a campaign, a multiplayer, some kind of arcade type mode, or horde or whatever. There was, I get tired of playing multiplayer. I go play a campaign mission, or I go play, a few waves of horde with friends or whatever. You had these things where you play Overwatch and you're playing the same game over and over and over, and there's no variety. You play Fortnite, you're dropping into the same game over and over and over, and there's no variety. And yeah, there's Save the World, but that's a completely separate game. They're not even the same thing. If you've ever played Save the World, you can't even compare Battle Royale and Save the World other than the fact that they look the same. I mean, they're not even remotely the same thing. So you get PUBG, really only one mode. Now, there's a few other game modes, but they're still the same base thing. And
the other problem with that too is for a lot of these games, you're paying the same amount as you paid 10 years ago.
Well, I don't know that you are, because a game used to cost $60, and that was pretty much it. Yeah. Some of them were maybe $50, but
the DLC and stuff now.
But that's what I'm saying. But but you buy God of War right now at $60. Mm-hmm. You buy any really AAA title besides Fortnite, it's still going to cost you quite a bit.
I mean, Overwatch was what, $40? Was it $60 on launch?
I don't think so. Pretty sure it was always the same.
I don't remember.
It's still
paying
$40 and all you have is multiplayer, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's another thing about it too, is that you're paying more for less, and that's
right.
That kind of
sassy and moist, Brittany. A wild Brittany has appeared in chat.
I'm glad that you just embraced that. Honestly, it makes me really happy.
That's a good story.
Carlos just bit my leg.
We're just gonna have to add a whole bunch of stories, to our document, because we've done a lot of good. We've got a lot of good stories.
Yeah.
Between the three of us.
That's hard.
Plus more. I mean,
Carlos just.
Tell him to quit.
Does not want to be left alone.
I like this topic. Discussing bad jobs.
Oh boy. Bad jobs like the work that we do? Is that what you're getting at?
Sure, yeah.
All right, Vito, why don't you lead us off with the dairy?
Let's not say any company names.
But
we can say the dairy.
Before I head into Dunder Mifflin tomorrow. Or what is it?
Dunder
What
Mifflin.
is The Office?
That's Dunder Mifflin.
I got it right. I've never even seen it. But I was shooting for
Wow,
the
you're
stars.
gonna get crucified for that for sure, dude.
Man, oh man, I'm going back tomorrow morning, boys.
I like my job right now. So
Well,
out at the ship.
I feel like we can talk about some generalizations. Like
when
management.
when owners get involved too
Well,
much in a company.
It's all gonna be the same stuff you hear anyone that works in a factory complain about. Well, they just don't know what they're doing. They spend all the money in the wrong places. They don't give me enough hours. I'm the best worker they have. Blah, blah, whatever. That's up until about the age of maybe 40, and at that point, like, depression is just seeped in because you just worked in the same place for 20 years and you just kind of accepted your fate. And don't you disrespect me ever again. I mean, I can imagine. I shouldn't say depression, but you've just learned to accept that the world you have to experience for 8 hours a day is going to be...
Not even 8 hours a day. A lot of factories are 10,
more,
12 hours
10,
a day,
12, whatever, yeah.
That's
a
one of the
world
things
you're
I've
probably not
mentioned,
going to enjoy.
Recently, I went from 12 hours to 8-hour shifts, and let me tell you, I've been working 12-hour shifts for the last 4 years. Man, that is a difference. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
Going from 12 hours to 8 hours a day is like I
It's
would
like
not.
a sixth of a day. It's a lot.
Like, it's made me like my job 5 times more at least. So I feel like that's a big thing that So let's say you manage a company, right? And
So close.
or you manage a factory or whatever, and you're setting shifts for people, what people are going to work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that are 12-hour shifts, and I'm not going to say that there aren't people who like that and who would rather work that than 8 hours, because there are. For a while, I liked that as well, but
just want to get it over with.
Yeah, but most of these places, let's say your normal schedule is 3.5 days a week if you're working 12 hours. Right. Most factories, I think for the most part, you're working overtime every week. You're working 4 days a week. You're working 5 days a week, but you're still working 12 hours a day. So where does your life outside of work go?
I mean, you're the only one here that can talk about that, though.
Sleeping 3 hours a day.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, it's not even with my job. It's just a thing in general. I mean, and I get it. You can't hardly operate a shop 24/7 on 8-hour shifts. Yeah. Because you have weekends off. How do you cover the weekends? So I mean, I get the necessity for 12-hour shifts, but for me, it's just like I never want to work 12-hour shifts again.
Oh yeah.
And it's not bad. Let's say randomly, we need more overtime covered or something. You work a 12-hour shifts for a week. That's a big difference than working 12-hour shifts every week for years.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, you come across this job that sounds really nice, and you think you're going to make some good money, and you think it's going to be worth it because you're going to see one of your good friends who lives in a different state now. But then you get there and you realize that not only was the pay not worth it, but that the company completely lied about what they were going to do with you.
Whoa! Ben, you there?
No, I don't think he's there anymore. But I'm not going to name the company because for obvious reasons. But it was something that me and Darren will have bonded significantly over because of the trauma that we were put through. And I'm not going to get into much detail about what happened unless you guys want that. But
I feel like it's better.
I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But when I came home and started my job in the summer, it was like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And it was, it's a good feeling. I mean, I like my job currently.
I feel like a lot of people can't say that they like their job.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like I'd be, obviously I don't know anything about these statistics or anything, but I'd be willing to bet 95% of Americans would say they don't like their job.
Well, it's work.
Yeah.
It's going to come to a point to where you're like, I've been doing this every day for 30 years. And
Yeah.
you're going to be like, man, Like I wish I did something else, or I wish I could go home and sit on the couch while I'm at work. It just becomes a routine that you want to get out of because you want something new to happen.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I know I made it sound bad about how I act towards where I currently work. There are some moments that are bad, don't get me wrong, but you'll have that with any job. I mean, most of the time it seems pretty fair. Sometimes not so much, but you'll kind of get that. I think the main thing for me is the place I work is a union, and because I am part time, I don't necessarily receive as many benefits as full time people, which is understandable to a degree, but I don't think it's acceptable to let someone work 3 hours and then make me work 18 as a result. I just that seems unreasonable, and there's minor things I'm sure that happen to everyone, but generally speaking, it's monotonous work. You go in, you do the same thing every day, and I mean, it's not bad, but it's certainly not good. It's certainly not what I want to be doing.
Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like it depends on who you are. I mean, for me, let's say I had a job that I'm just, there's something going along a conveyor belt or whatever, and I'm just like, doing the same thing over and over and over again every day. Like, I would be done with that in a day.
Right.
Because, I can't just sit there and do the same thing over and over again for 8 hours. But,
no, God, no.
I mean, but on the flip side, I feel like there's people who are the opposite, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's definitely opposites all everywhere.
Yeah.
In every situation,
Sure. But it's hard to say. I will say this. From my experience, I definitely think people make their jobs a lot worse than they actually are.
I think it's just the fact that people have to stop what they're doing to go to this place that they don't necessarily want to go to.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
why? Like, I don't. If you're working a 9 to 5 job, man, I have to wake up at 8, drive 20 minutes to work when I could be sleeping in until 10:30,
Right.
and then getting up and watching Netflix. It's just one of those things where you're forced to do it. I mean, you go do it because you're getting money from it, but
Right.
I think some jobs that get to the point to where they're not worth the money that you're making, and then that's when it goes downhill. At that point, to where you're like, what I'm doing right now, I think should be worth more money, and I think everyone gets to that point at some point, like at a point in their life.
I don't even think that it's necessarily a money thing. I mean, obviously you have a job to make money, and that's the primary goal. But let's say you're at a job that you just hate. You barely make it out of bed to go into work every day because you just don't want to be there.
Right.
Is it really? But let's say you make $20 an hour, okay, at this job that you hate. Now let's say you need to make $12 an hour to pay all your bills or whatever. Won't have as much extra money in your pocket, but all your stuff's paid for.
Right.
Now, let's say you got a $13 an hour, $14 an hour job maybe that you could go to. Not making as much money, but I mean, I guess this is a toss up. You don't really know if you're gonna like it until you get into it, but I think at some point it's, do I care more about having this extra money and just continuing to hate my life every day, or do I care more about making enough money to pay what I need to pay and not dreading waking up every day? But
that's a hard thing for some people.
Yeah, and obviously that changes if you have kids or stuff that you.
That's the other thing too is like, if you're only making enough to survive, like what's worse, having like no money to do fun things outside of work, or not completely dreading work, but also just not having the money to do like for me personally, I'd rather just kill myself for 10 hours a day or whatever and then be able to go, go home and eat a steak and buy a game because I made enough to do that. That I made more than enough to pay all my bills and then do that day or whatever. I mean, that's me personally, but I can understand how some people would rather work. A lot of people did in high school where they'll work 4 to 6 hours or something like that, and they're okay with that. They have enough money to go out,
do what they want to do.
Things a week, but
Yeah, I mean, I worked 40 hours a week for the last 3 years of high school, so
yeah. So it depends on what you want, though, and also what you already have as a kid. If your parents are paying for everything, then whatever, then who cares? I just want you to get a job so you learn responsibility, and then you work 4 hours a day or whatever, less maybe at babysitting your nephew. Well, okay, I'm grateful you're in an opportunity or a situation to do that, but there's a lot of factors for sure on what people want to get
your mic or something.
Yes.
I was touching the cord.
Okay, yeah, that's making a lot of noise.
Whoa.
You should not.
Whoa there.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Oh,
that's touchy, man.
Look at that. What do you think? So anyway, I really want to talk about Deadpool.
We could talk about Deadpool.
We should talk about Deadpool.
We'll keep it spoiler free, I think.
Yeah.
We could. Yeah.
I mean,
it's a Deadpool movie. There's not much that is like pressing that we can't spoil. It's pretty much what you're gonna expect to go watch a Deadpool movie.
I guess just be warned.
Spoilers may occur, but probably not. We'll try.
Yeah,
we'll put a spoiler warning on it.
So we saw Deadpool yesterday.
Yes.
So from what I saw, it did very good at the box office. I think it's the best opening weekend for an R-rated movie ever.
It made its budget.
Oh,
in the first weekend.
Yeah, they had a $110 million budget and they made $132 million at the box office this weekend. So they're not doing too bad. That's what I read earlier today.
An hour ago, Deadpool 2 ranked in approximately 125 million domestic and 301 million worldwide.
Okay. I think I might have only been reading domestic.
Yeah,
so.
Probably.
So they definitely made their money.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyways, I thought it was very good.
It's funny.
It was.
I had a pretty good story too, actually.
Yeah. I think it definitely opened some doors for things to do down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was. I don't know if it was better than the first one. I think it was slightly.
Had a better story.
Yeah, the story was better.
It was an introduction story for Deadpool.
But I think as far as the humor and the comedy goes, they're about on par.
Well, Deadpool 2 has more shots at bigger studios and people because everyone knows how this movie's going to be now. Like the first movie, I think they were a little timid about.
I'll say it was pretty funny the first Deadpool when I don't remember who I went with to see it. I don't even know if you guys were there.
Probably.
We're in the theater and I thought it was hilarious. I mean, we're walking in there and there's people coming in with kids that are less than 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
Like lots of them. And they're walking in, parents probably thinking, "Oh, it's a superhero movie." And then they, it starts getting a little bit into it and
they don't realize it's the Merc with the mouth.
I mean, it was kind of hilarious to me the amount of people that were just walking out of the theater.
Yeah, dude, it happened a lot.
And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it was really a bait and switch by Marvel or something. I don't know. I don't remember how upfront they were.
No, they were upfront about it. They were very much like, you probably should. It's rated R.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the opening scene is a car flipping around and people getting their decapitated and his nuts on people's faces.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna expect at that point?
Well, I mean, I feel like.
Yeah, I read that.
So I feel like it's all about where we're talking to the mics because our volumes are all exactly the same.
I'm just actually talking to my mic.
I think that they're all the same.
But
I moved mine closer.
You know, going to if you're gonna take your kids to see an R-rated movie, you should probably do a little research about it. I mean, I'm not gonna judge parents, but I'm judging parents.
Yeah. I mean, some parents.
Even yesterday, there was a kid sitting beside us that was too young for that. I would definitely not take my kid. He was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, he was probably 12 or 13.
And maybe I'm like conservative, but it comes to a point to where you probably shouldn't expose children.
I think so. If you're talking about a kid that's 12 or 13, I think it has a whole lot to do with what you've already exposed them to, and so obviously you got like so this is a good example. I played GTA when I was 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Will we see the repercussions of that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
are we arguing morality? Because you're not a.
I don't know, and I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you're right.
I don't know anything about raising children. But
I mean, you're definitely right when you say that. It depends on what you've exposed.
I feel like once you get up to like 12 years old, I feel like kids are at a point where you can explain to them, this is a movie or these, I mean now, I have a fundamental misunderstanding of cuss words and why these words are bad, but that's a whole other conversation. But
and I think kids are going to learn it eventually at school.
Yeah,
from people like you, Darren.
I mean, when you talk about
from people like Darren, I mean,
when you talk about like even like sexual references. So, how old are you when you're in like 5th grade?
I don't know.
Like, you're what?
11, 12?
Yeah, 11, 12. So, like, we learned about sex ed in 5th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think it might be even earlier than that now. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But and I think even if it is taught in 5th grade, I feel like, I mean, I definitely knew about it way before then.
Yeah.
I feel like so.
Let's say it's parenting style too, like what you want to expose your kids to.
I guess my philosophy is, and if I had kids or whatever, I think I would rather. So if I'm a parent and I take my kid to see Deadpool, right? Say they're 12, okay. At some point, like my kid's got a computer or whatever, he's gonna watch Deadpool because it's the cool thing and it's the new superhero movie, and he wants to see it. He's gonna watch it at his friend's house on his computer, whatever. Like he's gonna watch it, right? So if he's gonna watch it, I can pretty well assume that. Why would I not take him to watch it and be able to, I don't know, explain things that they don't understand or whatever? I feel like I would rather be involved in it since he's gonna do it anyways. But I don't know.
Right.
I mean, like. For an example, like me growing up, there was, like the Jackass movie series. It's very, I mean, you see a lot of violence. There's a lot of sexual stuff that happens.
Mm-hmm.
My parents didn't necessarily want me to watch that stuff, but I went to my friend's house and we always watch it because they're hilarious. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So I definitely understand what you're saying when you say, they're going to do it anyways, because it's 100% true. As much as parents don't want to, realize that it's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, that's just a fact of society, and I think it might honestly be better to expose people to that kind of stuff earlier. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, but
I think it depends on the personality of the kid too.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, some kids just probably are not mature enough to do that, but. Here's the problem with me. I think if your kid isn't mature enough, then you've been messing up his entire life, right? Like, I think realistically, a kid should be mature enough to know about that stuff around 10 years old. I think. I mean,
you are the psychologist of the group here, so
I mean,
with a degree.
I just think like depends on a kid. I don't think it depends on a kid's personality per se, just more of, are they mature? And if they're not mature, then their parents messed up, probably.
To an extent.
I kind of. So there's a lot of parenting styles, and the general consensus is the best one is what is it? It starts with an A. Can't remember, but basically the basic premise behind it is you allow your kid to have some freedom, but if
it's like authoritarian.
If he's shooting up meth in the bathroom, maybe you say don't do that.
Like authoritarian.
Yeah,
aren't they like based off governmental things?
It's not authoritarian. Authoritarian is you go to church with me every Sunday. If you skip a class, you're cut off from the will. That's authoritarian. It's like
I'm looking them up, but yeah,
it's like it starts with an A, but it's not
authoritative.
Authoritative.
Yeah,
which is you give your kid a little bit of leeway.
Here's the four. Authoritarian is you focus on obedience, punishment over discipline. Authoritative is create positive relationships and enforce rules. Permissive is don't enforce rules and just say the kids will be kids, which we've seen that before.
See, I feel like
uninvolved is provide little guidance, nurturing, or attention.
See, I feel like I would be somewhere between permissive and authoritative.
Mine is 100% authoritative.
Yeah. Here's the thing, like authoritative research shows. And obviously, when you measure, right, you're using these standardized measures, and maybe a parent raising a kid doesn't care that they're having super successful jobs or whatever. But that's how we have to measure things. Authoritative shows that authoritative parents will raise kids that go to jail less often, make more money in the long term, build stronger relationships, and stuff like that. Permissive isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it can be in the sense that if they don't have structure, you're leaving a lot of decisions.
Get out of my Twitch.
You're leaving a lot of decisions, which is really dangerous in today's society, up to someone that
Brittany, don't come at me with psychology in the chat, please. Okay, before you get banned.
Brittany,
so where I say I'm somewhere in between.
She graduated with a psychology degree too.
Mine's better. You went to Akron, failing school.
Oh no, dead school.
All right, so where I say I'd be somewhere in between authoritative and permissive is I feel like to some extent, and obviously this is different depending on what the subject matter is, but I think at some point kids need to, maybe this is more true in like teenage years and stuff. I feel like there's some point where, like if you talk about the birds, like saying they need to fly out of the nest. Yeah. At some point, like you've got to step back, and they've got to be able to figure out their own stuff. Mm-hmm. And
well, I think those styles of parenting are generally for children. Not so like adolescent parenting styles can be different.
They're definitely different
because you're older, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, a lot how you raise someone as a child, 0 to 12, impacts how you are probably going, or how you probably should raise them from 13 to 18.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're 12 years old smoking cigarettes outside the middle school, well, A, you messed up. B, there's probably something you need to change to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't continue. But if you have allowed your kids to have strong relationships with people and encourage that, and encourage them to do well in school, which doesn't necessarily matter, but just having a sense of accomplishment is always a good thing for a kid. Then that will generally foster a successful adolescence. But.
So something like with me, for instance, like, so in my mind, like, I feel like I've been an adult since I was like 15, cause like, between 15 and 16, I kind of like did my own thing, right? So like I started working on it at like 15 and a half, and I had a car, and basically from the time that I started working and bought my first car, like the amount that I was just self-sufficient and pretty much independent is like 100%.
Right.
And I don't know, I feel like that helped prepare me more for like post graduation.
Right. Life on your own.
I mean, you definitely still know more about being an adult than I do.
Right.
And we're like the same age, just because. I mean, I chose to go to college. She chose to go to college. You've been living by yourself for 2 years now, 2.5 years.
I mean, well,
and beyond that.
Well, hold on. Do you count the gym? Do you count the
Well,
basement?
I guess technically you've been living by yourself in the sense that you don't really have that much connection to your parents anymore.
Yeah.
As far as like my parents pay for my car insurance and my parents pay for my like phone bill, my parents pay for all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it's different because you pretty much have been paying your own stuff for
like
ever.
Even since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, like when I got my car, my parents never paid for my car insurance. I've had my own car insurance since I was 16.
Right.
You know, they gave me some money to help me buy my first car, but you know, outside of that, you know, even since the time that I got a job, I'd say I've paid for like 75% of my food since I was like 16, and that's not necessarily because my parents wouldn't.
Right.
I'm not saying that my parents didn't provide for me, but
you just chose to be independent.
You know, I don't know. I've just kind of floated towards being independent, and not saying that, you know, I don't want to have a relationship with my parents. I'm saying there's a difference between having a relationship with your parents and relying on your parents.
Yeah, right.
Mom, if you're watching, thanks for dinner today. Appreciate it. It was good. But yeah, I think it's like for the longest time, right? The relationship between, you know, me and my parents, it differs. It definitely differs a lot when you go to college. I think for me, and you guys can attest, you guys are both in different positions in life, I guess, than me, somewhat. But I think the best thing in life with regards to a relationship with your parents is when you finally step out, you are completely self-sufficient, and then you realize how much easier it is to just get along with your parents. At least it was the case for me. When I moved out and moved in here, I definitely think the relationship, especially with my mom, I kind of really always got along with my stepdad, but at least with my mom was better than it had been since middle school, probably.
Well, you know, and I think obviously things happen at different times for different people, but I think the general deal is that people move out after they graduate.
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe after the summer after they graduate, if you're going to college, or before you graduate. Sometimes it just depends. But I think, you know, within a year of graduation, I would say most people move out of their parents' house. Yeah. I feel like that's
to some capacity.
Hopefully.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with staying
I'm not really saying
house.
it's a bad thing if you don't, but I'm saying that's probably the general rule of thumb.
I guess when I said hopefully, I kind of more mean you shouldn't be living with your parents when you're 30. I mean, I live with my dad, so you know what I mean. Right.
But where was I even going with that? No, I don't remember.
Well, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
that's how
you know.
goes.
But yeah, so anyways, you move out, you know. Then and I think, I don't know if it's because, so moving out after graduation, I think that school, whether it's high school, college, depending on how involved your parents are in paying for college or involved with your education past high school, I think that education puts a huge strain on a parent-child relationship because, you know, obviously your parents want you to have perfect grades and, you know, do the best that you can in school. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, obviously, you know, I have very extreme views on education, but I feel like most kids. Hold on. We'll segue into that. We'll segue into that. That's probably for another podcast because I go on about that.
We're getting to a 2-hour mark. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think so. Like this is in my case, and I feel like this is in a lot of kids' cases. Well, what is the difference between a C and an A practically? You know, you graduate college with C's. I don't think the person that graduated college with A's is necessarily going to have any edge over me, right?
Well,
You know.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so and I feel like most kids
These
in
get
school,
degrees, Darren.
yeah, I feel like
Unless
most
it's a
kids in
major
school
class.
just
Unless it's a
generally,
major class.
you know, they care about passing and finishing it, but beyond that, I feel like nobody cares about their grades, really. I mean, obviously there's exceptions. There's people who do.
I think it depends.
But-
I think if you're reading a resume and this guy is a 4.0 and he's done every other thing you could do under the book, you value that over someone with a 3.5 that did everything under the book. You know what I mean?
But you know, I think a lot of people don't care. You know, whether it's practical or not, I think a lot of people don't care about it. As long as you get your degree or you get your diploma, it's whatever, right? I think that's like a general thing that people in school feel. Obviously, the parents are on the opposite spectrum. You know, they want you to have a 4.0, and they're going to push you to have the 4.0 because that's what they're there for. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No.
But you know, obviously, you have differing opinions, and you know, when you're in college, it's a little bit different because your parents can't really force you to do something or whatever, you know.
Unless they pay for your school.
Yeah, but you know, through high school, especially, you know, living with your parents and everything, they are in charge of you, right? You know, if you are getting bad grades and they're like, you know, oh, you're not going over to Cody's house tonight because, you know, you got a D on this test or whatever, you know, or you can't take your car somewhere for a week because you need to get your grades up. All that's doing is pissing you off.
Yeah.
And it's just it's creating a strained relationship, you know. So
well, because it's a difference in what you find important.
Yeah.
Right.
At the time.
But that's why I think, you know, when you move out and that's why I think moving out has such a strong impact on your relationship, and I think it's because, you know, you end school roughly the same time you move out.
Yeah.
Or you move on to college where they don't have as much control over that, but
well, during all this time, basically, you know, everyone's heard of the idea that your brain isn't fully formed until you're like 25 or whatever, and all that. I mean, although that's kind of true, the main takeaway from that is that especially from 0 to 18, you're going through so many changes so rapidly, right? When you look at someone from the ages of 30 to whenever they die, right? Sure, you undergo like physical changes, like you just age, right? Stuff happens, but you don't undergo the same sort of like mental growth, cognitive growth, emotional growth, physical. I mean, the list goes on and on, and that can be complicated too because you're in all these situations and you're going through things in life at that age that are. So, I mean, some of them you only experience once, you know what I mean? And so you're going through all of these random things. And then you have, you know, mom back home that's complaining about this, and you haven't even thought about grades for a week because I don't care. Like, what do you mean? I have 3 A's and whatever, 2 B's. So why do you care about this one bad grade I got? I'm not even worried about this. I'm worried about all this other stupid stuff that's going on in my life. So I think that can complicate things further, past the difference in interests in general, you know, which is obviously prevalent in most parental relationships, I think. But I don't know. You guys want to call it a stream? Do we have anything?
I think so.
We're
about
closing in on 2 hours.
Yeah,
we're about
2
right on the
hours.
2 hour
I think
mark.
that's pretty solid for the first one. Hopefully for the next one we'll have the camera thing.
Yeah, I kind of looked it up. We'll have to look into it some more.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just close it out really quick. If you are here, and you have been watching, or if you have watched, thanks for coming out. I think we plan on doing this at least once a week, with development, podcasts as well, or not podcasts, but videos as well. Hopefully weekly.
I don't know if we'll be starting that this week yet or not. Kind of depends where we're at with things, but you know,
we do plan to start those fairly soon.
Yeah.
So you can most likely catch us here again next Sunday at 8. But if you want specific updates, because everything is kind of weird and new right now, feel free to follow the Twitter, the subreddit, whatever is your platform.
Join the Discord.
Of choice. Yeah, join the Discord. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us here. Whatever you would prefer. And we'll be pumping out updates on when we'll be going live again. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Cody. This is Ian and Darren. And this is the Full Send Studios podcast. Thanks for watching.